Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com. We're going to talk a little bit more about tongue tie releases, but in relative to orthodontics. I'm not really going to talk about the baby little kid stuff. We're going to talk about orthodontics and treatment timing, and we're going to compare and contrast one that is merely functional and one that's functional and also affecting the orthodontics. So I thought this was a really good example, this photo that I can show you, because you can see how incredibly restricted this tongue tie is and how the fibrous ligaments are most likely going all the way through, and they're going to prevent those teeth from coming together. So not only is this important for function, I mean, this is a young kid, so I'm kind of surprised that they didn't catch this when this kid was younger, because I'm assuming this kid probably had a lot of feeding issues. As a mom of a child who had major latch issues, it was probably one of the most traumatic things I've gone through. If there's moms on here who have had babies who had this trouble, you get it. I mean, no one could tell me what was wrong with my kid. All my kid did was scream for the first 6 months. I mean, it was crazy. And we went to myotherapy functional therapist. We went to all these specialists and they just kept telling me to let my kids starve. That was the message we got. Now, did I know anything about this stuff back then? No, I didn't. I was an orthodontist, never had heard anything about it. I think it's much more popular now. But we actually went to myofunctional therapists and no one mentioned anything about tie releases or anything like that. So I don't know. We didn't even look at it. For all I know, my son still has that issue. I haven't really checked, but I actually had to get a frenectomy done. This one, mine was really tied. And supposedly I had feeding issues as well. So, but I'm also neurodivergent, and a lot of these things are related to that as well. But anyways, and so might other people be that I am referencing. But anyways, in any case, let's talk a little bit more. So lip ties versus lingual frenectomies, tongue ties. We're talking about tongue ties here, and tongue ties that actually affect the orthodontics. Let's talk about when we actually do the snippy snip. So first of all, usually, like we said, we'll just quickly review the kiddo stuff. So usually with lip ties, tongue ties, usually they're caught when they're little, right? In infancy to early childhood, because they're having troubles with latching or feeding. And they do the stretchy stretch and the clippy clip with a laser, and we're all good, assuming it's done right. And everything goes well. If they don't catch it, then they're usually going to catch it in pre-orthodontic or mixed dentition, because usually they have malocclusions. And because the tongue can't rest where it's supposed to rest on the spot, it's resting too low and the growth is strange. So usually we're going to catch it then. If we didn't catch it then we might catch it later when there's relapse or something like that. But let's say a child got all the way through this point and now they're in orthodontics and we're like, well, do we need to release it? Well, yeah, you probably will, because we'll probably either not be able to close the spaces, or we're going to close the spaces and they're going to pop back open, which is what happened to me. So I had to have both a maxillary labial frenectomy as well as a lingual frenectomy later in life. So function versus aesthetics. The primary goal is to establish full range of motion. And someone who had a lip tie, I had a lip tie and a tongue tie. A tongue tie that wasn't addressed until my 40s. It was pretty interesting once I had all the exercises, the stretch and the release, how much range of motion I had from my tongue. And yeah, let's not go there. But before, I remember, like, if I had food like on my molars and stuff, I couldn't get it out with my tongue. Like, I'd literally have to carry around a toothbrush. I thought that was normal. I thought it was so weird. And I was always into hygiene. Like, I always had clean teeth. I did not like yucky teeth. I was one of those kids who was clean. Um, Surprise. But in any case, I could never self clean like people do, or there's people that could like tie cherry stems with their tongues. I couldn't do that. I was like, well, I don't know why I can't do that. But anyways, yeah, I figured it out. So once I had the release, I'm like, wow, look, my tongue can clean my teeth. That's so cool. Remove food or something. Like, it's just little things like that that I love. And I wish I had done this so much earlier if someone had told me. So not to mention the speech issues, and just the sleep has gotten so much better. So, I mean, there's just so much more energy. There's so many benefits from this, but you can't just snip it. You have to do the whole process. And sometimes it involves cervical chiropractics. It's all related. It's all tethered down. It's all fascia. Check out, I have an entire YouTube channel on that. Okay. I went down a rabbit hole. So, in any case, if it's function and aesthetics, you're probably going to have to do it before you even start orthodontic treatment, most likely, is what I'm getting at. It's very different from a lip tie, which has nothing to do with function. So we wait until the end of orthodontics just to make sure there's no scar tissue. Now, is it possible scar tissue might come in here? Yeah, but it's on the back, so I don't know. I've really never heard of an issue with it, whereas opposed to the ones on the front, there's more of an issue. But that's the only thing I can think. That might be it. I don't know if there's any research on that. But again, primary goal is to get function, mobility, speech, swallowing, to proper tongue posture and proper tongue mobility. It can be done in infancy. It can be done pre-orthodontically. That's fine. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I wanted to tell you. So it's a little bit different. But definitely you should be evaluating this on all your patients, because if you don't, you're going to have weird relapse and strange and weird predictability with your cases sometimes. And, then no one's going to be really satisfied with the outcome. All right. Thanks so much.